This podcast is brought to you by Deepbridge Capital LLP. Deepbridge is authorised and regulated by the Financial Conduct Authority. Please note that investments discussed are both illiquid and high risk and won't be suitable for all investors and should be considered as part of a diversified portfolio. The content of this podcast should not be construed as financial or taxation advice. We recommend investors seek appropriate professional financial advice. Any views expressed may no longer be current and may have already been acted upon. Welcome to this latest Deepbridge Discovery Podcast. My name is Andrew Aldridge. The purpose of this podcast is to bring to life the people and the companies behind what we do here at Deepbridge. To that end, I'm delighted today to be joined by Chongsu Lee, who is founder and CEO of Pacla Medical, a company within Deepbridge Life Sciences EIS, which has the BackHug robotic device for back massaging and physiotherapy. Chongsu, great to see you, and we look forward to having a conversation.
Yeah, likewise, Andrew. Great to see you again.
Excellent. So for our listeners and our viewers, could you just first and foremost just tell them a bit about Pacla, how it came to be, and your key objectives as an organisation?
Yes. So Pacla was set up back in 2015 at the back of my physiotherapy practice. At the time, I was running physiotherapy practice in Edinburgh, but one thing I learned through my physiotherapy education in Edinburgh, but also through my physiotherapy practice, was that the most effective manual treatment, manual therapy, is joint mobilization.
Okay.
Your listeners may not be familiar with this term, but effectively, when you go and see a therapist, you lie down on your tummy, so that the therapist access to your back, whether mostly over the clothes or sometimes on the bare skin. And the therapist put their two thumbs onto their back, and then apply firm pressure for 10, 20 minutes. And that is the most effective treatment that helps with a headache or shoulder pain, tightness, and back pain, etc. Because back is such an important. It has got about half of the joints of our entire human body, and it has got all the nerves controlling motor and sensors diverging and converging in the joints, and they become stiff. It affects the body hugely, and so that's what I was doing day in, day out, and week in, week out. But then you can see it's physically very demanding. Human beings are not designed to do this repetitive mechanical work. So that's when the penny dropped, and that's how I set up the Pacla Medical and decided to translate this manual treatment into a robot. So that's how Pacla Medical was set up. A key objective, at the time, I didn't know the market was big because my focus at the time was really addressing the pain points myself was facing, also my clients were facing. Some of the patients traveled across the UK from Oxford, Isle of Lewis, Aberdeen, London, even as far as from France and Egypt. But then you can see they had to take a lot of time and money to visit my clinic at Edinburgh. Cost a lot of money, but also it involved a lot of stress. So it was not ideal for themselves, but not ideal for myself because it's physically demanding, unable to continue. So the market is big. Now realize that the global market for the therapy, the market we are targeting is a 70-60 annual billion market.
Right.
And therefore our key objective is to get to more than $100 million revenue in the next 5 years, and really provide real solution around the globe.
Because I guess you starting as a physiotherapist, as you said, you wouldn't necessarily have been aware of the global problem. You were focused on your patients, your kind of your small insular world. But then you're not scalable. You can't create hundreds and thousands of Chongsus. You've got to I guess that's kind of where the robotics comes from. Is it's actually then a scalable product that you can take to market. But
yes, totally.
So you've talked about kind of your background as a physiotherapist. The rest of the team kind of bringing in the tech expertise, etc. Can you just explain a bit about the background of a little bit more about you and also the team as well?
Yes. So although I have a physiotherapy degree and qualification, my first degree was in fact engineering. So I did my engineering study in Seoul, and then after graduation, I went on to work for Hyundai as an international troubleshooting engineer. So I traveled to the UK, India, Slovakia. When Hyundai at the time set out to become a global top 5 car manufacturer, which they became now.
Yep.
And so they built lots of businesses across the world, and I was part of this initiative team and went on and problem solve lots of engineering issues. But at the time, I was also very intrigued by human body work and human health work. It's partly because when I was very young, since the age of 10, I myself had lots of digestive health issues. So I had to miss a lot of school days. I was hospitalized many days and sometimes weeks and months in hospital to treat my these health issues.
Yep.
When I went to college, engineering college in Seoul, as well as studying engineering, maybe I didn't study as much as I should have been. I was very much.
We've all been there, Chongsu. We've all been there. Yeah.
I know. I was very interested in overcoming my own health issues. So I spent lots of time and money studying separate one and practicing, like lots of diet education. Did a lot of exercise and did a lot of mindfulness and meditation and positive thinking, etc. Yep. At one point, I went on a grave fasting in a very remote, exclusive village, where I spent 55 days of fasting over 3 occasions.
Wow.
I mean, yeah, that taught me the importance of a good diet and how to understand your body, etc. And through that journey, not but that particular only one single incident, but through that journey, I overcame my own health issues. Now I'm very, very healthy.
Yep.
That experience, my childhood illness, and then the study I did myself, they instilled in me 2 things: the importance of a good health to do anything in life, and secondly, how to overcome, how to recover your own health through mostly natural remedies.
Okay.
And so because of that experience, I decided to quit my engineering job.
Yep.
And then because I wanted to really follow what was very meaningful to me. Yep. So I came to Edinburgh and studied physiotherapy. So that's how I became involved in physiotherapy and BackHug journey too. On top of that, in terms of team, I've been very fortunate to build a really good, smart individuals around me who I can rely on, who are dedicated, who are believing in the project as much as I do. Take, for instance, Dr. Trong, he's the head of our software. He was doing his AI PhD in Edinburgh Uni. Very smart, was offered the position by his professor, but he had to go back to Hanoi because he had a family. And naturally, we got talking, and he got involved, and it's been great. Dr. Walling, I had known him several years before he joined the team. Again, the opportunity arose, and he joined the team as instrumental to business formation and the fundraise, etc. Yep. So we've been fortunate to have the team.
So was it useful to have that kind of that commercial experience then? Obviously, you've got that unique blend of the engineering plus the interest in the human body, etc., which is a unique kind of blend. But then to bring in that kind of commercial experience alongside, I guess that was useful, particularly in the early stages.
Indeed, I mean, some of the because everybody has got some form of a commercialization experience, but not necessarily. Established scaling up business. So we had to tap on the lots of advice and available resources outside of our team, and always pivoting and then trialing and error, finding an error, and then finding the next method. So it's been journey. Yeah.
Good. So kind of on that journey, what have been the key milestones to date? Kind of what key things you've been particularly most pleased with or have been the key kind of metrics that you've been working to?
I mean, because mind you, the product we are now producing and introducing to the market is a 4th generation of BackHug, which means previously we had three previous generations of BackHugs, and every time we produced the product, we sold out. Although the volume was small, between 25 and 50, but we always sold out the product to the market, and therefore we really demonstrated the commercialization opportunity. Of course, alongside that, we needed money, and which means we successfully raised 4 investment rounds. So these are the key milestones we've achieved so far.
Fantastic. Along the way, obviously, for no business, nothing is ever straightforward. There's great milestones, but what were the main challenges or the barriers that you faced during that journey?
I think if you build hardware combined with very sophisticated software, hardware which requires about 200 of very bespoke components, that's hard. I think so. I mean, people talk many different challenges, but in the end, to me, from the very outset, I was true believer. When you build a product, the product must speak for itself, so that it shouldn't cost arms and legs to try to sell to the audience. It shouldn't cost a fortune to market the product. And therefore, when the early versions of the BackHug, which we thought was very good enough for the market, and therefore that's why we released. We didn't release believing it was half-baked. We believed it was a very good market, a good product for the market. But the reality is, when we released the early versions, we received a lot of critical feedback from audience and then people who tested the devices. And that hurt me like hell. That really hurt me, and really it got me awake at night, and got me thinking every single past iteration. So that at the same time, that really enabled me to work hard and iterate and change and perfect the product. So that was the biggest challenge, and that's how we also overcame.
That's brilliant, because again, I think it shows just how personal this is to you, and this is your baby, this is your creation. But also, I think it's I think if you ask any entrepreneur, any founder, is kind of the first release of a product is never the final release. It's always evolution, isn't it? It's always evolution as you go along and tweaking things and changing things.
I wish,
But so BackHug has got 2 predominant markets: one for in home use, and also being used by employers for employees and kind of in the workplace. The key differences in the usage and adoption depending on the location. What's your route to market like? How do people start utilizing the product? Kind of how do those 2 markets differ, I guess, is the question I'm trying to get to.
Yes, the 2 are different. So we call B2C for home users. So people with aches and pains and who wouldn't need a regular input for their health and well-being, those people can have BackHug in their own home. So they have unlimited access when they need. Now, if they have one BackHug at home, I mean, if there's only one place, it's only you, then you can use probably a couple of sessions, typically a week, and then also meaning you have around minimum 10 sessions a month, but some people use it daily, so you can have up to 50. But that's only when you have when there is only one person at home. But if you have a partner, if you have a family, or occasionally having friends try the device, it can easily amount to 50 to 100 sessions a month. Now in the UK, it costs 50 to 100 pounds per session to get manual therapy, which means even if a few sessions a week, it pays off very handsomely. It's a great investment. Now for businesses, of course, BackHug typically goes to the businesses with 100 staff offices. And the staff can book a session through our BackHug app, and they use the device as when they need. And because businesses spend fortune at the moment, I mean, one of the most recent acquired business customers is Convex. It's an insurance company, and they said they're the biggest reason for staff absentees and loss of productivity is musculoskeletal and back pain. And one of the reasons UK labor market is so tight also since pandemic is because people are suffering quite enormously from back pain and then with these health issues. Yep. And it is costing economy and businesses a lot of money. So you can see employers and businesses can save a lot of money on their health insurance, increase the productivity by having a BackHug, and they can serve easily hundreds of their staff. So you can see the messaging between the B2C and B2B are different, and we are tailoring our messaging differently depending on our target market.
And in terms of kind of those absentees from work, etc., has that changed since COVID? Is that because people are working from home? Is that they don't have necessarily the same ergonomics in terms of how they're sitting at their desk and things like that, or have there been kind of change in the market?
Yes, indeed. I mean, interestingly, we did our own survey using an agency, and it turned out as a result of sitting, working from home, people are working longer, in fact, in a very not ideal desk and chairs. Otherwise, they would have a better system. Like, I mentioned about the convex. They said that one of the big spend for their staff from business point of view is providing the computer desk, the chairs, and then laptops. They are all trying to help them to not to have a back pain, neck pain.
Absolutely.
Yes. So people are suffering more. Yep. And then working longer and stressed more. As a result, I think it's costing businesses and UK economy and labor market quite a bit of issues, and BackHug can come and address and play a positive role.
Yep. And then for those home users, do the people that have it at home, do they tend to be people with long-term medical conditions? Are there any specific conditions that they might have, or is it just long-term suffering with back pain, etc.?
Yeah, at the moment, because we haven't yet classified BackHug as a medical device yet. Yep. Although it's our development plan, which means we are marketing our product under the household massage equipment. Sure. Which means, sorry to your listeners, but we are not entitled to making any medical claims.
Yeah.
So. It's up to the individuals, but we clearly say we don't claim for any medical benefits.
Of course,
people with the issues, who are benefiting from regular manual sessions, they can get great benefit from BackHug at home.
Absolutely. And you mentioned earlier, people traveling from France and Egypt, etc., to come and see you. I mean, if you've got a poorly back, sitting on an airplane for a couple of hours isn't a good use of your time, is it? So having it available at home must be a big plus for them. So just kind of going to the commercial aspects of being a founder and creating, being an entrepreneur and doing what you're doing here in the UK. What's been your experience of the early stage ecosystem in the UK, and how have you benefited from that?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, I didn't come to the UK to start business for a start. But it happened to be. Now, but although I didn't do I didn't do any business in other countries, including the Korea where I came from. But because the UK is such an international country, and you go to meet a lot of cosmopolitan people. I believe and I know UK is one of the best places to start business, and with the best startup ecosystem, both in public and private. Take for instance, UK government's R&D agency, Innovate UK. They really lead the innovation. They encourage the businesses to collaborate each other and to meet the specific government agenda, etc. And we've been successful a few occasions to receive their grants and support. And being based in Scotland also are the extra advantage. And so we've been benefiting both sides of the world, and Scotland and the UK. And Scotland's economic development agency is called the Scottish Enterprise. And we gained quite a bit of a financial grant, but also other support like innovation specialist, design specialist, access to their networking, like a global scores. And that has been very instrumental. And and not just about those. I think it goes without saying. The ecosystem also refers to the people we get to work with, whether it's agencies and individuals, partners, because UK is such a great place for businesses and entrepreneurs, and even the lawyers you get to speak, even the patent attorneys, even the marketing agencies, they kind of share the same spirit, and
they understand what you're doing.
Adopt the entrepreneurial approaches. So it's a really good place to be.
I was going to say as well, not just UK, not just Scotland, but Edinburgh itself is a great hub for innovation and entrepreneurship, which I'm sure you've benefited from as well. But
totally, lots of good cafe, restaurants. Except the weather, we have everything here.
I was up the other week and it was actually sunny, so there you go. It was a rare day. But in terms of kind of that ecosystem and support that you received, why Deepbridge? Why have you been working with Deepbridge for your funding, etc., or kind of how's that come about?
Yes, Deepbridge back in 2017. We got to have a meeting in the first place, and we just hit off very well, and Deepbridge understood and appreciated the innovation, the market opportunity. So they did a lot of due diligence on me, our product, and our commercial opportunity. Rightly so. It's a hard-earned money. But likewise, I did my own due diligence on Deepbridge through checking their profile. And I spoke to fellow entrepreneurs who had the fortune to receive the backing of BackHug, the Deepbridge. I think Deepbridge is a very respected VC fund in the UK, and one of the things I learned from Deepbridge is their approaches can be prompt and then trusting, and then collaborative. You have Dr. Savas Neifaitu, the Chief Investment Officer, who both himself was an entrepreneur, who had a very firm background in science and PhD in science, but also I believe it's JP Morgan experience. And he understands both sides of the world, and Savas take into account a lot of information very quickly. Seems to process it very quickly and see things through, what works, what not works. And that approach kind of resonate with entrepreneurs. And you have we have a Ben, and now as an investment director in life sciences, have a similar quality. And I think those qualities also really is a credit to Deepbridge, and speak the volume about how credible Deepbridge is.
Appreciate that. No, I think both Ben and Savas, I guess their unique skill is understanding the science, etc., but being able to make commercial decisions, and I guess for yourself, I guess that's kind of a like-minded individual in the sense that with your science background, but with your commercial head on, that's how you've built the business. So that's great. So just kind of going back to the physiotherapy market, it's obviously, we talked about kind of scaling you, if you like, and kind of, that's kind of what the BackHug does, if you like. Why is the physiotherapy market so ripe for disruption? Is it because it is so much human-led at the moment, and it is about individuals, and actually you can disrupt that quite easily with your robotics?
Yes, I think there are a few different strands to cover on this question. So there are this therapy market, manual therapy market we call, it is big, and of course it comes with lots of different approaches and skills. Now, first of all, BackHug is not still any business or replace existing manual therapist or physiotherapy in professions at all. It really complements and add value to what existing professionals are doing. And as I shared my early stage of experience, having learned the most effective therapy, manual treatment is this joint mobilization using your two thumbs. But because it's physically very demanding, not many people do it and can do it.
Yep.
So it's a hugely underserved market with great potential. So that's where BackHug come in and complement to the existing manual therapy professionals.
Brilliant.
At the same time, we are also talking about massage therapy products industry. I mean, we are talking about typically legacy devices like massage chairs, massage beds, and massage guns. And these products are selling billions around the world.
Yep.
In Korea, South Korea alone, the leading massage chair company, massage bed company, they sell 400 to 500 million US dollars every year in the last 10 years. And 15% of households in the Far East, Japan, South Korea, Taiwan, 15% of households have massage chairs and guns, and they are spending quite a lot of money.
Yeah.
And that trend is now, although the West and Europe and the US are catching up, are growing here. Because people are interested in looking after themselves. They now appreciate the importance of back care and how important to their life. So it's growing quite rapidly. At the same time, this market, which is selling billions around the world every year, are hugely underserved and little innovated. Since the beginning of massage chair introduction in 1960s in Japan, there has been very little innovation. Okay, they use the same rollers and balls. In the last 60 years, okay, they added a bit fancy upholstery and changed a little bit of techy features. But the same concept remained throughout the last 5 decades. And this is where BackHug, based on solid science and highly effective technologies, can come and really serve the market much better. People who are waiting for it.
Yeah, you've taken an entirely new approach to the technology, and it's entirely different, which is hugely impressive. So yeah, so kind of looking back on your journey to date, we've gone through what you've been up to, etc. But what does the future look like? You mentioned before about your long-term goals, etc. But what kind of the next steps to get to your long-term goals, or what you're looking to achieve going forward?
Currently, we are now producing a batch of production. We'll serve the UK and exporting some units to the US, Greece, and Spain and Germany, who are all requested the product. So we expect to set out the dispatch of production in the next 3-4 months. And so that's why we are immediately in preparation for the next step. Rightly so. From 2014, early 2014, next year, we're going to produce 1,000 plus batch of production and to increase the commercialization opportunities, which means we also have embarked on another investment round, which we completed this year. And commercially, we started our focus in the UK because we are based here, but at the same time, we are going to put our lots of focus and resources in the US. US, I mean, their spend on healthcare is 7.5 times bigger per capita than UK, which means their treatment is usually very expensive for the same treatment, and people are probably suffering more, or at least the same. So we believe it's a great opportunity with our product. So we next step is really, produce more units, raise the money, and then go to the US and then increase the commercialization activities.
Brilliant. So again, kind of looking back on where you've come from, if somebody else was in your shoes now and looking to kind of do what you've done, founding a business and driving it forward, particularly in such a kind of a tech world, what advice would you give to such entrepreneurs, particularly those kind of tech related companies?
I'm not sure whether I'm qualified to give advice, but I'm happy to share what I felt, what
Absolutely.
I feel.
In your experience, absolutely, yeah.
Yeah, I think so. So I mean, I think I touched on this one. I believe, especially early stage of this journey, I think entrepreneurs and founders have to focus their energy and resources and mentality on product development.
Sure.
I believe on the scale of 100% product perfection scale,
Yep.
the product must reach 80% of spectrum.
Yep.
So that's when the product speaks for itself. It doesn't cost arms and legs to trying to sell the product. And I think one of the mistakes perhaps some of us make maybe is that we may get distracted by the a bit early sign of excitement, maybe because of the media attention,
Yep.
because of the some substantial fundraise. Not necessarily, it does not mean the product is ready yet. And actually, commercially speaking, in mid and long term business perspective, probably we have not demonstrated it yet. So focus on product development to make sure it reaches the 80% of product development spectrum.
That's fair.
And secondly, I think everybody talks about building a great team.
Yep.
I think we've been fortunate to have a trusting, reliable, and smart team around here. But at the same time, and as a startup, you don't have the luxury to hire a Google executive or head of Spotify software engineers.
Yeah.
You wouldn't be able to last for 2 months, never mind a few years.
Yep.
And so it's always been finding a hidden gem that you can still afford, who is smart, who can stick to the journey, who has got perseverance. I think that's the advice. If you can find the hidden gems, who you can pay and can keep it and then share the vision and journey, that's a necessary journey.
I think that's it. The hard skills, if you like, are absolutely a must, but it's the soft skills of sharing your vision, sharing your passion, sharing that journey of where you want to get to. I guess that's kind of taking those hard skills and adding those soft skills, and I guess that's where you get those hidden gems.
Yeah, I mean, if I can add another advice, if that's okay. I mean, we from the very beginning we set out our culture document. We spend lots of time shaping our cultures, what we stand for, how we are going to operate, how effective we're going to be, and we set out the culture. That the core of our culture is a growth mindset.
Yep. So
myself and everybody involved in our team has got to have a growth mindset, and no pressures about what they were, how they invested, but continuously set the next target to grow. And that involves, we call prototyping, just like as an engineer, developing the product. But when you develop the product, particularly at the beginning, no matter how expertise you have there, is bound to have lots of faults and issues. And the best way to approaching those situations, whether it's individuals or the agencies or partners or product, is you start small, trying it and prototyping. That means prototyping it and find quickly what you need to be done, what needs to be done, how you can improve, and etc. And then move on to the next stage. So we the entire approach, myself and our team, our business adopting at the moment for product development or businesses or picking any partners, agency, or even staff, is we prototyping. We prototype things and then move on.
I think that's very sage advice for people, in the sense that you having that mindset is crucial in an early stage business. You know, you can't have people going, oh well, we're going to stick with what we're doing, and we've always done it this way. It's got to be looking forward, and also having that kind of test bed and testing things, that the prototyping, as you said. So yeah, excellent. So you're a busy man, Chongsu. This is very evident. You do a lot of things. You've got a lot of interest, but away from work, managing a rapidly scaling business. What are your personal interests away from work? This is where we try and give our listeners a kind of a glimpse into the individuals behind the companies that we're supporting.
Yeah, great. I mean, I go swimming, I go running around Arthur Street. There's beautiful hill in the center of Edinburgh. Yep. So I run around occasionally. Otherwise, I spend a good quality time trying to spend more time with my young son, Gio, and my very supportive, beautiful wife, Sue. So I try to be a family guy, as best. But to be truthful, Andrea, my hobby became a BackHug. BackHug became my hobby. It's something I'm most interested in. I spend most of the time alongside my family, and it excites me most. So yes, BackHug is my hobby too.
You got to make time for the family as well. That's important.
I do.
But just in case your wife's listening. The question we then ask all of our guests on the Deepbridge Discovery podcast is about the Deepbridge dinner party. So if you could invite 3 guests. Can't be friends or family because we don't want to upset anybody. But if you could invite any 3 guests from any time in history or from now, who would they be and why?
That's interesting questions. I have 3 distinctive individuals just spring to my mind. Yep. First one is Kerry Napbook, who passed away a few years ago. Also same age as my dad. Okay. Now Kerry, he is the one who inspired me to start building a machine. Okay. Kerry and we used to go out regularly for a lunch. Kerry knows every single good restaurant in Edinburgh. He's a good eater.
There's a lot in Edinburgh.
A lot. Edinburgh has got a lot. And when I discussed with him about the a dilemma I had as a physiotherapy practice, and he mentioned about Chongsu, you may want to build a machine. Otherwise, it'd be really impossible to solve the problem. Yeah. And so I'd love to have him back from his resting place at Haven, back to the dinner table, and show him what it became. Yeah. The idea became. Yeah. So to carry the first one.
Awesome.
Yeah, and second one is a Korean guy. It's called Mr. Wonik Lee. It's Mr. Lee, not related to my family at all. When I was 25, I read a book written by him, how he pursued his dream, overcame his eyesight-related disability that was completely making very difficult to pursue his dream of becoming pilot. Yep. But he relentlessly pursued his dream. He went to America to attend Harvard Kennedy School. And now I believe, he became pilot. And now I believe he works for Boeing aerospace industry.
Wow.
The book I read it a few times at the time. It really touched on me. And after 1 year after that book, I decided to quit the job. And that was a kind of a really pivotal moment for me to decide to pursue the life that is meaningful to me. Yep. So I'd love to have him at my dinner table from the US, and then they listen to his life story again. Although I read his book when he wrote it.
And to be able to thank him for the inspiration, I guess, that's absolutely.
Yeah, totally. And the third person would be again the late Steve Covey, who are famously known for the book 7 Habits of the Most Effective People. Yep. Again, I got to read this book when I was 20. And every male in Korea goes to military service as a part of the conscription. So I spent 26 months, but now they reduced to like 20 months or 18 months something. But anyway, aside from my training, military training, I read his book many times, and I kept his book under my pillow. And I think it's for the first time. I really felt a book can touch so much, can influence an individual's life, and I really felt there's a life that can be fulfilling. It's something I should pursue to feel my heart at the time. So that book was the beginning of my journey. And you can see, if I connect the dots of Carrie, connect the dots of Mr. Lee, and connect the dots of Stephen Covey, it tells about what I am now, what I'm doing now. So I'd love to have these three people and listen to them, and also share my story too.
Absolutely. I think that's hugely impressive. And it's clear that those people were inspirational to you in terms of helping you become, take that leap into what you've done and to be the person you become. So that'll be a fascinating dinner party guest. So excellent. Well, look, Chongsu, appreciate you're a busy man, and so thank you very much for your time. Really appreciate you speaking to us, and I look forward to catching up with you soon.
Likewise, thanks so much, Andrew, for having me here, and likewise, very best wishes.
Thank you. Thank you for joining us. If you have any topics you'd like covering in future Deepbridge Discovery podcasts, please email us at discovery@deepbridgecapital.com. This podcast was brought to you by Deepbridge Capital LLP. Deepbridge is authorised and regulated by the Financial Conduct Authority. Please note that investments discussed are both illiquid and high risk, and won't be suitable for all investors, and should be considered as part of a diversified portfolio. The content of this podcast should not be construed as financial or taxation advice. We recommend investors seek appropriate professional financial advice. Any views expressed may no longer be current and may have already been acted upon.